Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about overcoming obstacles, and I'm going to be united by my friend. But before we get there, I don't know about you, me personally, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate. Like, I have a lot of goals in life I would like to reach to. In the past, I've had amazing goals. Like, I was like, by this time, I'll get my driving sorted. By that time, I'll get like my distinction or my first in this degree. But the kind of thing whereby we have goals. Yeah? And there's nothing wrong with having goals. If you think there's something wrong with having goals, then go to my Instagram page and look at some of the videos I've done on goals, how to reach them, and all that. But that's a story for another day. That's not for now. Well, the thing is with goals, most of us have obstacles. And these obstacles are so hard to beat. Some of these obstacles come to addictions, some of them come to trauma, some of them heartbreaks, or just laziness. Yes, I said laziness. And trust me, I can relate to that. And with all these obstacles, like, it's so hard to overcome them unless we have the right mindset. Well, I'm sure someone is out there is wondering, okay, I've got these goals I would like to reach, but I've got these obstacles, they keep slowing me down. Well, let's look at 2020. Most of us, when we started 2020, was like, okay, this is the year for me. In 2020, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. I know a lot of my friends are like, I'm gonna get my driving sorted. And then Rona came. And then when Rona came, the whole driving was like put in a drench. Because like, no one is learning until now. We started learning. Like, driving lessons are back. Back. I'm going, back. But, Cynthia, be serious. Okay, the thing is, we all have different obstacles. Some are able to overcome them, some are battling through the whole thing of how do I overcome them. Well, if that's you, then this video is for you, because today I'm going to be talking with my friend Ithiel and talking about his own journey. He'll be sharing with us some of the lessons he's learned in overcoming obstacles. If you want to learn more, which I'm sure you'd like to learn more, then keep watching, because we've got something amazing prepared for you. Yes, you. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and all that at the end, and share with whoever you think might benefit from this. But I'm gonna keep quiet and invite Ithiel as we start. So, in a bit, in a bit, in a bit. So today we have Ithiel in our midst, who's gonna be sharing some deep, interesting points about obstacles, how you overcame. It'll be like more of a testimony or a discussion or lessons kind of thing. And I hope you guys, whoever is watching this, you are gonna be blessed, because I am looking forward to hearing this. Like, literally, I'm looking forward to digging deep in and snipping into so it'll be snippets of Ethel kind of thing today. Woof, check him out. Anyway, to just start off, Ethel, do you mind just introducing yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. My government name is Ithiel Akakpo. I am 23. I was born in London. Originally, my background, my dad's from Ghana, the home of the best jollof in the world. Mum's from, yeah, some people get triggered by that comment. I know that. Some people get a bit triggered, but it's all right. It's all right. My mum's from South Africa. So, I've got that Caribbean flavor and the African little tango thing going on there as well. I love law. I love law so much. I did a BA and a master's in it. As crazy as it sounds, I actually do love law so much. I just immersed my life into it. I love sports, all kind of sports, staying active. love playing basketball, going to the gym. I love reading books as well. I'm a bit of a bookworm. And yeah, I'm Ithiel Akakpo. Nice to meet you, everybody. And I'm born in December, the best month of the whole year as well, guys.
Is it?
Anyone born in December, put your hands up because you guys get double presents every year, Christmas and birthday presents. You guys are the real MVPs. That's all I have to say. I'm not being biased. I'm just keeping it real. December's the best month out there. All right, cool. I want to clear that up. That's cool. Yeah.
You're the first one to say December is the first month, is the best month. Most people are like, oh man, I only get Christmas presents. I don't get my birthday. Everyone is focusing on Christmas, so they miss my birthday. But this guy's getting double blessings. You need to tell us how you're getting this, like, come on.
Ghanaian little thing, that Ghanaian touch, that's where it is, you know what I'm saying? So big up all my Ghanaians, all my St. Lucians, and all my December born people out there. Big up yourself, people, man. That's cool.
That's you. That's it. But quick question. It's not in the questions, but which books are you reading
right now?
Mm-hmm.
I was hoping you wouldn't ask me that question actually, but I actually started when I was younger. I used to love reading these crime. Was it like crime sort of books by I can't pronounce his name, but have you heard of Alex Rider?
No. Oh wait. Ryder, I've heard of a Ryder, but I don't know Alex. I don't know Alex Ryder.
So his uncle's like a MI5 agent, and he didn't know when his uncle died. He now took on the reins of working for MI5 Secret Service sort of thing. And I was into those books when I was really young, and they made an adaptation of it recently on Amazon. I started watching it, and I just fell back in love with it again. And so I started rereading some of the books I already had, and even trying to get more books as well in the series, because when I was young, I loved reading crime-related books, historical books, and stuff that really seemed realistic. And this book, the way the author wrote it is very relatable to the character. It's not like those James Bond films where they just turn their back and everything explodes. When he turns his back, debris hits him, he falls down. So it's very realistic and relatable. And so I just really enjoyed reading it and getting myself immersed into that world. Yeah.
Interesting. So you're more like into thriller or just crime?
Yeah, that's the way I was looking for. Thriller, yeah. So like thriller, crime, detective as well, sort of books. Yeah, that's me.
I can sort of relate because I grew up reading Nancy Drew.
Okay.
It was like more like a child one whereby she's like a little detective. She's young and everything, so you're like relating to her. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love Nancy Drew. Like, I like, if I'm gonna read something, I like not knowing exactly what's gonna happen and trying to figure out like, oh, what's gonna happen, the kind of thing. Not, starting a story already, knowing what the story is gonna be like. I just find that boring. Like, I'm like, why am I even doing this? And it's actually amazing. I think that's literally like life, how our life is like. Most of us, like, we grow up, we're saying, okay, you know what, this is the picture. What's it called? We have this mentality, like people who watch romantic movies. It's like when you're watching a romantic movie, I just find them boring because it starts with a storyline. The storyline is like, okay, there's a girl, she's bored, and then she meets a guy, it's great, and then something bad happens, and then something good happens, and they live happily ever after. I'm like, okay, it's the same story over and over again. With thrillers, like, something happens, and then you're trying to figure out, okay, what's gonna happen, and then you just don't know. But then when you see the end results, like, oh, I was not expecting that. Oh my gosh! And it's literally about life, because sometimes we walk in life, we had this image of, okay, my life is gonna be like a romance story whereby I'll grow up, and when I reach 22 or 23, I'm gonna get this job, and then once I get this job, I'm gonna buy a house. Once I buy a house, I'm gonna get married, or I'll get married first, and then I'll buy a house. And then, but then we face life, and it's like there are obstacles, and we realize, wait, hold up. Wagwan, what's going on? I was not expecting this. Like, no, God, what are you doing? And then we just want to like fast forward to the next stage in life. We're not embracing that the stage we are at, kind of thing, or we don't really face our obstacles the right way. And because of that, that can either lead south or south, north, west, or east, whichever one.
Whichever that is.
Yeah. And it's just, it's just something that I just thought about. But anyway, yeah. So anyway, I was talking about obstacles. What do you think an obstacle is? What is an obstacle?
An obstacle is, it could be a literal thing, it could be an emotional thing, it could be a mental thing that is preventing you from getting from A to B. So something that's separating you from achieving or getting to your chosen destination, whether that's in life, whether that's a goal that you're setting, or even, like I said, it could be a physical thing. You're trying to cross the road, but then there's a big work sign there that's preventing you from crossing. That's an obstacle because it's preventing you from getting from point A to point B, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, for example, let's say someone had a goal. The obstacles would be things that kind of distract them or stop them from reaching their, it looks like it's stopping them from reaching their goal, kind of thing.
Yeah, so it's like a hinder. It doesn't necessarily have to stop you. I think it's all a choice. It doesn't have to stop you. Sometimes obstacles can stop people from achieving what they want to. But other times it just motivates them to keep going, because ultimately with obstacles, it's not what I had a saying, it's not about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep going forward. So regardless how many obstacles are in their way, some people will take that as motivation, that okay, this is definitely the right path I'm on, because I'm facing so many problems and obstacles that if I push through, the reward at the end will be sweet and worth all of the tears, sweat I put into it, you know. So I think that phrase came from Rocky. I think it was. It's not about how hard you can hit, it's about how hard you can get hit, and you'll keep going because you're determined that you want to reach this goal. And so whatever obstacles are in your way, you're determined and you're motivated that, hey, I will get there. Because it's so hard now, I know at the end it'll be worth it all. That sort of mentality, yeah.
I like that. Before I ask Ithiel the second question, guys, if let's say you have an obstacles and everything like that, and you want to find a way, other than, of course, Ithiel's gonna give us like an example of how he overcame his, if he had any. If you want to find out a way or ways of overcoming them, just follow the link above, because I did, in one of my YouTube videos, I did one of a video about overcoming obstacles. So follow that and hope you be blessed. But anyway, coming back to this, so in your life story, your journey so far, did you have any obstacles along the way?
Yeah,
Reaching where you are now?
Oh yeah, definitely loads, thousands. We could be here all day. We could be until 2021 if I spoke about every single obstacle. And I think that's the same for anybody and everybody. We've all faced obstacles at some point. And one thing I've realized is that some people, they tend to face less obstacles than someone else. And then once they see that, they say, oh my days, that means I'm not that good, because how come I'm going through all of these problems and that person isn't? And it's a thing of things my mum or my dad told me. They said to me not to compare your behind the scenes to someone's highlight reel. So just because you see them all succeeding and all happy, and it comes across to you as if they're not going through any problems, you don't know what was going on behind the scenes. All they show you is the end result. And so it's important for us to always remember that instead of comparing ourselves to what we see from other people, we should compare ourselves to the person that we were yesterday, because all progress is progress. We all have obstacles all the time, whether it's teachers telling us we can't succeed and do something, whether it's ourselves. Sometimes we can become an obstacle for ourselves, which is quite deep. I myself, give an example now anyway, experience obstacles when it came to gym and fitness. For a very long time, I've been a very skinny guy, just like ridiculously skinny. And the thing about me, I used to eat a lot. I was one of those people, I could have like 3-4 plates of food and it wouldn't even make a difference to the scale. The scale wouldn't even shake once I stood back on it. It would remain still as it had always been. And I purposed in myself that, hey, I want to put on weight, because it was a thing where the boys at school would tease me and say, "Oh, if you're not a boy, you're a girl, but you look how small you are. You have no strength in you. If we barge you, you fall down." When it was windy, I was flying away with all the, with all
Really
the
crying though.
yeah, like, I was so, it was crazy. And people used to try to take advantage of me. And so I purpose within myself that I want to put on weight, and I want to start going to the gym and taking all the necessary steps needed to put on weight. And back to the point about making yourself an obstacle, there was moments when I was working out, when I start looking at my friends who had been working out either the same time as me or a couple months before me. And I was seeing how quickly they were just getting jacked. They were getting massive, they were getting muscular. And I myself, I wasn't getting to that stage that they were at. And I started to doubt myself. So all of the prior motivation, I said, yo, I'm going to keep this consistent. I'm going to keep going to the gym, watch my diet, get the necessary rest and do what it takes to put on weight. It all disappeared because I now myself started to become an obstacle, saying I'll never reach that goal. Because look at Michael. Michael was going gym for 2 months and look how massive he is. John was going to the gym for 6 days. Look how big he's gone already. I've been going gym for 9 months and I've not even reached half of what John, Michael, and Adam have reached. And I start becoming an obstacle because now I start doubting my own ability. I start comparing myself, and comparison is the enemy of progress all the time. Because like I said earlier, we compare our behind the scenes to someone else's highlight reel. And once we keep doing that, we will never be enough. Whenever we try to compare to someone else, the only person we should actually compare ourselves to is the person that we were yesterday. So say, for example, yesterday you were lifting a weight and you only managed to get 1 rep done yesterday. But now today you get 2 reps done. Yeah, it's not 20 reps. Yeah, it's not 30 reps, but you made progress. Progress was achieved because you were able to lift it for 1 extra rep. And that's the main thing, because now you're 1 rep stronger than you were yesterday. And you would only realize that if you compare yourself to how far you've come and not look at how far left you have to go. And that's something that through the whole gym process, I really, I learned a lot. Because how much, I think I was like, I think I was like 60 kilos at 18. I was like 60 kilos. So I was quite small. And I think my goal was to reach 70 kilos. That was the plan, to go from 60 to 70. And in the end, I got to 75. And I was like, oh, snap. Like, I didn't believe it. I was like, oh my days. I couldn't believe it. And I felt so good when other people started complimenting me, saying, oh, if you're going gym now, your shoulders are looking bigger, your chest is looking bigger, your arms are looking bigger, you're putting on weight. I felt good. And it was just a big reminder to me of the importance of not comparing yourself to other people. Because if I had continually I'm not gonna lie and say that to this day, I never compare myself to people. Yeah, there's moments when I slip up, but as long as I purpose within myself to compare myself to who I was yesterday, I'm not compare myself to someone else. It keeps me going, keeps me motivated to get past the obstacles that are in my life, because ultimately progress is different for everyone else. Progress should never be the same for every single individual. We're all different. Our bodies are different. Our minds are different. The way we process things will be different. You could have 10 students from the same nationality, the same class, sitting the same exams, having the same intellect, but someone will always get higher than everyone else. And that doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that at all. It just goes to show how different people are. Because you could all do one exam, one person gets higher, and you get the lowest. But then when you do a different exam in something else that you are so passionate about, something that you really know, you would come out being the top in that one. Then that person who got the top in the previous exam isn't the top anymore, because everyone's different. And that's how God made us. We're all different people, different interests, different talents. And as long as we utilize what we have and we focus on ourselves and how we can better ourselves and get past the obstacles in our life and stay focused on who we were yesterday and how we can improve on that to be even better, to reach that goal, that's when we can, ultimately get past the hurdle. And like I said, I managed to put on weight. I managed to get past 60 kilos to go higher. I even succeeded the weight that I was aiming to go. And I didn't stay there. I kept going, trying to achieve my goals to with the whole fitness thing. And over time, I fell in love with it. At first, it was more of a target. Then, in the process of achieving the target, I fell in love with it, and I just kept doing it again and again and again. So honestly, when it comes to obstacles, the key here is to not look at other people. Don't watch what anyone else is doing, because if you keep doing that, you will always feel that you're insignificant. As long as you focus on yourself, stay in your lane. It's not easy. Stay in your lane and work on yourself, and you'll get there in the end. 110%, regardless how long it takes, you will get there eventually, as long as you stay consistent, determined, and you don't give up ultimately. Yeah.
So don't compare your, what's it called? Don't compare your, wait, oh, I should have written that.
Scenes to someone else's highlight reel.
That's interesting though. Like, I like that story. Now I have a question, because like you're saying it and I'm thinking of myself. But like looking at it from an academic point of view, whereby when I did my first degree, I was like, I had obstacles. Like my obstacles were laziness, like one of those things where I don't know, like I can easily get information quick. I'm quite good at that. But because of laziness, I'm one of those people who leave things to last minute. Or like, yeah, I would either leave things to last minute, or I'll just, at that time as well, I had an addiction with movies. So my obstacle was movies. Like I would realize, okay, I've got a deadline, but because I have an addiction on movies, like I would binge watch a movie after a movie after a movie, knowing I've got deadlines, knowing I've got, I don't know, it was literally like an addiction. And because of that, like my grades were like 50, 60, 40 kind of thing, like average and all that. And then, yeah, I managed to pass it, got my degree, great. But when I said this degree, like the one I'm doing now, I was like, no, Lord, we are not having this addiction. Like, because I had faced my wells and I realized, nah, I keep running to movies to kind of distract me from what's happening in my life. Like, or I keep running to movies because of like there were different reasons why I was like running to those wells, to that well, because I feel like when I'm in that well, I can escape the realities of where I am or where I'm not, that kind of thing, and I can live in this visual fake world kind of thing. But then when I stopped that now, like I've realized when like my grades have from 40, 50, 60, great, which was like if I get a 60, I'm like, yes, that kind of thing. Now I'm getting like 70s, 80s kind of thing, and it's like a normal thing. But when I get a 70, I want to cry. I'm like, why did I get a 70? Or why did I get a 60? It's like, so I'm so annoyed. I'm like, Cynthia, that's a first. That's a first. But it's like, even though I've reached where I want to, I still feel like, oh, I'm not good enough. Why did I actually get a 70? That's a fail. But it's like, no, that's not a fail. That kind of thing. That's actually good. Like you're actually getting there. But I'm thinking, no, I got a 70. The other person got an 80 or a 90. Then I need to get a 90. It's like, I'm still kind of, now it's like, it's no longer obstacles of movies. It's not an obstacle of me comparing with my, like with other people, or always thinking, oh, I need to get better, I need to get better, which is a good thing. But now it's ending up being like a negative thing, whereby although I'm reaching the goals, I still feel like I'm not there yet, kind of thing. How would you encourage someone like that, whereby, let's say they had obstacles, now they've overcome them, but even though they are now where they want to be, like let's say you're 60 kilograms and then now you're 70, but now you feel like I'm 70, but I'm not good yet. I'm not good enough yet. And then you're 80, it's like, I'm still not good enough yet. And then you're 90, like, I'm still not good. That kind of thing. Like, how would you encourage someone like that?
Wow.
That's a deep question. You're not ready for it.
That's a deep question. I think sometimes those kind of people are people who are very competitive. Like I myself, I played for the basketball team for my university and for school. And I remember when I joined the team, people underestimated me. they said, "Oh, this guy." I was already quite skinny, and they were like, "Oh, this guy, he ain't that good anyway. Look how skinny and small he is. He can't really do nothing." And so I remember I was put on the bench. That was my role. I was the bench warmer, and I hated that so much because I felt that I had the talent and the ability to be on the starting five, and it was a thing where everything I did, I was trying to outdo the other person. So if one game I scored 4 points, but then the next guy next to me scored 6 points. I was like, no, next game I have to score 8 points because that was not good enough. I need to show everyone else why I'm the best and what I deserve. And of course, obviously, there's nothing wrong with trying to succeed and be the best. There's nothing wrong with being competitive, but it becomes a problem when now you lose track of your progress and of who you are. You can get lost in that. And it's very scary because now instead of it being a thing where you're trying to be your best, you're just trying to feed your ego and feed your pride. And that's where it gets dangerous because like in the Bible, it says that pride cometh before the fall. And once it becomes a thing where your heart and soul is not in doing your best so that you can achieve something great, but it's now turned into something that you're trying to outdo everyone else for a pride thing, for an ego thing, that's when it gets a bit dangerous and a bit scary. And when you have to hold back a bit and reassess why you're trying to achieve what you're trying to achieve. If you're trying to get 90% for you to feel better about yourself, for you to feel that you put all your work in it, fair enough, like go for it. But if you're trying to get 90 for you to be able to save your chest to someone else, oh, I'm better than you. You got 80, I got 90. You have to reassess. You have to reassess your intentions. Intentions are important. There's nothing wrong with being competitive and wanting to be the best, but it becomes a problem when that competitiveness takes over your life and your pride and your ego is the driving force in wanting you to succeed. And that's something that people don't really talk about much, this idea of wanting to succeed to make other people feel down, trying to feed your ego and pride. That's a very hard and very deep concept that you threw at me. And it's scary because I've been there as well. Like even when you just mentioned with gym, saying that, oh, now I got to 80 kilos, I'm still not big enough. I want to get to 90 kilos. When I get to 100 kilos, oh, that's not big enough. I need to get to 110. When I get to 110, that's not big enough. I need to get to 120. And then before you know it, you keep getting bigger, you keep blowing up. And then before you know it, you get yourself hurt, injured, and the worst thing that you couldn't even imagine happens because you weren't doing things for the right reasons. And oftentimes it all comes back to comparison. You're comparing your success to someone else's, which shouldn't be the thing. It shouldn't be your driving force. You're trying to compare yourself to someone else's success. You have to focus on who you were yesterday and improve on who you were yesterday. And that's the only time you'll be happy. Because if you deep it, you can only ever be truly happy if you're doing things for the right reasons. If you get 90 out of 100, because you wanted to outdo someone else. Yeah, your pride and ego is happy, but you yourself, you don't feel happy because you didn't really have the right intentions of trying to achieve that. You only wanted to achieve that to look at someone who outdid you yesterday and laugh at them to their face, and that's not the right reasons for trying to do that. And so many people cheat. People cheat in order to get the highest grades. People take steroids to get big as quickly as possible for them to outdo and belittle someone else. Again, the intentions. What is your intentions behind trying to achieve A, B, or C? What is the driving force behind that? Are you trying to better yourself and be the best version of yourself possible? Or are you trying to just use that to feed your pride, feed your ego for you to belittle, make fun of, and make someone else feel that they're not worthy or they're not good enough? You have to really assess the motivating factors to why you're trying to do something, I feel anyway, going forward.
Intentions.
Very, very deep.
That's deep. Because even though like intentions could be like you're just doing it because you're trying to overcome an obstacle, not because of people. But if the intentions are quite bad, whereby you're trying to overcome your obstacles because of trying to think of other bad intent or other not so good intentions that might be out there.
Let me see. It's quite hard. We talk about those kind of stuff, really, do we? Never really like touch on those kind of things. It could be jealousy as well. You're trying
Mhm.
to do, you're jealous of someone else. You saw what they got and you're jealous and you want to outdo them. That's another way they could have a wrong intentions of trying to achieve something good. Success is good. Everybody wants to be successful, but sometimes for the wrong reason.
Sorry, 1 second. I'm gonna pause this.
It's just something that we don't really talk about much, the intentions behind wanting to achieve something and be successful and overcoming certain obstacles. Because obviously obstacles are there to push us to be the stepping stone to help us succeed. But so often, like we were discussing earlier with the intention, someone might want to succeed something in order to make themselves feel better than other people, to make themselves be more superior, could be out of jealousy as well. They've seen that someone else succeeded and did something and they're jealous about that. And now they feel like they have to do this now. They have to get past this to show this other person, yes, I'm twice as good as you, from a place of jealousy. And ultimately, when they reach that point, they don't feel happy, they don't feel content, they don't feel that peace that, yeah, I got to this point because, again, the intentions was not the right thing. And one thing I've learned when it comes to comparison, something that I practice myself, and it really helps me to not compare myself to other people, especially when we're looking at overcoming obstacles to achieve success, is actually congratulating people for when they reach a goal that either you were trying to reach yourself, or if you see them overcome an obstacle that you're currently stuck behind. So it's a thing where if one day I go to the gym, excuse me, and I see one of my guys lift the weights that I've been struggling for weeks to lift, and I see one of my mates now lift that weight for reps that I could not even dream about doing, the first thing I would do, instead of like feeling terrible about myself, I say, oh, here we go, might as well stop going to the gym now, because he's only been going to the gym for 2 years, I've been going for 10 years and I can't. Instead of feeling like that, I'd go up to him, congratulate him and say, hey, bro, that was amazing. Like, bro, that was a crazy lift you just did there, bro. Like, I'm so happy for you. And in that moment, when you actually congratulate them, have you heard the saying, fake it till you make it? Even if you have to fake it to congratulate them and feel happy for that person, over time, it becomes a real thing. And instead of you wanting to be quick to feel envious and to feel bad about yourself, you'll feel happy that someone else was able to achieve something that you couldn't achieve. And it can be a, a piece of inspiration for you to keep you going, because if they were able to achieve it, that means there's hope for you as well to achieve it going forward. And not only that, now that you're actually happy and you're congratulating them, you can go to them genuinely and ask for help and say, hey, what are some tips you can give me? Because I'm trying to get to where you got to. What would you advise me going forward to help me get past this obstacle in order to reach this goal, reach this destination, and reach this place I'm trying to get to? So literally just congratulating people instead of comparing yourself to them, it really goes a long way with changing your mindset and your perspective on life and the way you see your situation and your obstacle going forward. So that's something I practice and I continually practice, whether it's to do with academics, life, relationships, gym, anything. Whenever you see somebody successful, succeed in something that you've been trying for however long to get to, once you congratulate them, it really takes away that feel to want to compare yourself and feel bad about yourself, because it just keeps you going. You know, it's all these little things that you can do to really change your mind, and once you change your mind, you can change the world, essentially. So yeah, little hints, yeah, that I use that actually works for sure, definitely.
You're annoyed about something in the world and you want to change it, be the change by changing your mind. Yeah.
Exactly. Change you want to see in the world, man. You've got to change. The change needs to start up here first before it can come in actions. Because whatever starts in the mind will come out in the body. That's deep stuff right there, man. It all starts up here first. It all starts up here before it materializes in actions.
Mm. How did you? Okay, I have a quick question. Sorry, because we're talking about how we shouldn't compare ourselves to the next person, and then it kind of reminded me of something. Someone might be watching, and they're like, "Okay, what if I had an obstacle, right? And I've always thought, oh, I'm not good enough at, let's say, giving public speeches." But then I have something that I need to say. A lot of people say you need to actually start talking more. you need to start talking more. And then one day I decide, okay, you know what, I'm gonna do my first public speech. I do it. It's not as great. Of course, it's the first time. Like, the first time is usually not like the best. So it's not like they do their public speaking, they release an amazing speech, but because they were afraid and everything like that, a few people, they like literally come and like, you know what, you did really well, keep it up. But then one or two people who they thought would be there to encourage them, that kind of thing, come and they're like, actually, you were really shabby. You should never do that again. Like this person has gone out of their way to overcome this obstacle, but then they end up reaching a point where even though they've come out of their comfort zone to get to overcome the obstacle, now they're having to face another one along the way. What would you encourage? Like, have you ever been in a situation like that? If yes, how were you able to overcome that?
Yeah, it goes back, like I said, to basketball. I was in a situation like before. I was trying to make the basketball team. So I tried to make it from year 8, I believe. And I went to tryouts. I couldn't make it. I went in year 9. I couldn't get in. So it was a thing where I'd been trying for a few years. And the sad thing was that players from the team obviously don't recognize me because I keep coming to all the tryouts. They'll say stuff to me like, hey, man, just give up, man. Just quit because you're not good enough. If you're good enough, you would have made the team already. When I eventually did make the team in year 10, I was on the bench. So I didn't get much playing time. Again, people like, Ithiel, man, what's the point? Like, you tried hard and look where it got you. It only got you to the bench. Like, you're still not good enough. Like, don't even try again. Don't even practice. Just quit. And it's a thing where you have to always remember that failure is the only way you can actually learn how to succeed. Because without failure, you won't know what you need to improve next time to do better. And for me anyway, when it came to me going to try it for the basketball teams in year 8 and year 9 and I was unsuccessful, what I would do, I would work on the things that the coach would say I was lacking on. So the very first time the coach was saying to me, oh, Ithiel, you're a good player, but the problem is you're not shooting right. Your shooting mechanics are wrong. So in year 9, focused on my shooting mechanics. So now I came back and said, okay, if your shooting mechanics are good, but on defense, you're not really doing anything. You're just all over the place. You're letting anyone get past you. You're not really helping the team. Year 10 came. Not only was I focusing on my shooting mechanics, but I was making sure that on defense, I was doing everything that was required in order for me to better myself. And if it wasn't for those constant failures and people telling me what I was doing wrong, I wouldn't even know what I was doing wrong to better myself. Because so many times we always focus on what went well and what we did well for us to feel good within ourselves, and we overlook what we did wrong. And if we focus on what we did wrong and learn ways of how to improve that, we will be able to become the best versions of ourselves. And it was crazy because even though people kept telling me that I wasn't good enough and that, oh, you're just here and you're just wasting your time, I knew within myself I had what it takes to make the team. I knew deep down. And I won't lie to you, it was very discouraging to hear people continually tell me that you're not good enough, you'll never make it. But because I knew I had what it takes to make it and I was determined that I will do whatever it takes for me to get on the team. When I went on the team and I was on the bench, I can't lie, I felt so happy. Even though I was on the bench, I felt content that I had worked hard and I eventually went past that obstacle and I made it onto the team. And it was funny because even though I was on the bench and I wasn't getting that much, people were still teasing me. And that's the thing I learned. You can never please everyone. You will never be able to please everyone. Regardless how hard you try to please people, you will never ultimately be able to please everyone. You might be able to please 10 people, but the 11th person will say, oh, you weren't that good anyway. You weren't that good anyway. So when I stopped trying to please people and I focused on trying to better myself, that's when I found the energy to keep going. And ultimately, in the end, I became the captain of the basketball team. And all of that would never have been able to be achieved by me if I allowed the little criticisms that people were saying about me to bring me down. Instead of looking at it as a jab and as a stab, I looked at it as things I need to work on in order to be even better. And if we have that approach to things when people come to us with constructive criticism or just negative comments negative comments in general, if we look at those comments as things we need to just improve on to become even better at whatever craft or thing we're doing, then we'll be able to fully utilize ourselves to our fullest potential and be the best version of ourselves. And it's so funny, the very same people who were laughing at me, teasing me, they would come to me after games, congratulating me, saying, Ithiel, I saw you play today. You played so good, man. Like, you've come a long way. You've come a long way, Ithiel, from year 8 to year 11 to 6th form. Look at you. And it really felt good. But at the same time, one thing I always tell people, don't let failure get to your heart and don't let success get to your head. Make sure you stay level-headed. Make sure that you keep being intentional and you assess your motivations for trying to do whatever you're trying to do. And that's a theme that I've been repeating throughout all the questions you're giving me. Your intentions. If your intentions are in the right place, whether you succeeded on the first attempt or not, you will still be confident and be determined to believe that you can achieve whatever you're trying to achieve if your intentions and motivations to get to whatever you're trying to get to are in the right place.
I like that example. I think it literally covers a lot of things and answers a lot of questions. For example, I'll just give one whereby if someone wants to overcome obstacles, one of the main things to do is accept criticism, but don't just accept it and use it negatively and be like, oh, okay, they say I'm not good enough, and then let it put you down. But take it in and learn from it and try to become better at the things that you are a little bit weak, that kind of thing. And the more you try, the more you attempt, the more you keep going, that's the more you actually be able to become better. And I think this is the story with a lot of people who've succeeded in life. They'll tell you, you know what, I wasn't good at this, but I kept on going. I fell. In the Bible, it talks about a righteous man falls 7 times. Okay, maybe I'm using the context wrongly. But basically, let me use a different word. It talks about how when we are weak, he is made strong. So if you're feeling like, okay, I can't do this, that kind of thing, well, from a Christian perspective, I'll be like, you know what, just give it to God. Let him help you to become stronger at the elements you're not strong, because we're all born with obstacles. We're all born with things where no one is born perfect. No one is born as a success, that kind of thing, like knowing it all, knowing how to walk. In order for a child to actually be able to walk, they have to fall and go up, fall and go up. But they keep going, they keep rising, that kind of thing. They keep attempting and they keep failing until they're able to actually walk and run. And then later you'll be like, oh, I wish they never walked anyway, because this child, I can never get hold of them. I can never make them sit down, that kind of thing. And that's the thing with, like, if you want to succeed in life, just think of children. How they do it, and I think that would be the best way to kind of go, because even when a child, you tell them, no, don't stand up, like don't do that, they'll still want to stand up. They're like, nah, I want to stand up, I want to walk like daddy, I want to walk like mommy, why are you telling me to sit down? No, it ain't happening. So yeah, just keep going. Yeah, all right. So coming to a close, what have you learned? I think you've kind of answered it. I'll just ask it. What have you learned from your journey so far? Yeah.
One thing I've learned is that even in failure, you're successful. And this is gonna blow everyone's mind, because this is something that I myself had to learn, is that sometimes you might fail and in the process of failing, succeed. And what I mean by that is, before you got into the situation where you failed, let's say you were someone who was very lazy. Let's just use it for an example. Let's say you're someone who's very lazy, and then you were trying to reach a certain point that would require you to not be lazy and to develop skills such as being persistent and learning how to persevere through situations. And even though you were unsuccessful in reaching the goal that you try to aspire towards, you learned and developed a new skill, perseverance. So even though you failed in achieving the goal you were trying to get towards, you succeeded in learning how to even better yourself going forward for the next situation. Which is crazy because you develop different skills. There's been moments in life, academically and life related as well, where although I didn't reach where I wanted to get to, I developed so many skills and abilities that I would not have been able to even dream of getting if I had succeeded. Because when we win and we get to a point of success, we're quick to just stay in that and forget. Sometimes we forget how we even got to that point. But then once you fail something, you develop different character traits that are very transferable to the next stage in your life, the next stage in your development, and your stuff that you bring with you. Because when you succeed, we all celebrate, have a good time, a party. Yeah, I made it, and then that's it. And now you're like, now what? And you sometimes forget the steps that you took to get there. But once you have, I don't even know if I'm making sense, guys. I feel like I'm waffling.
Make sense to me.
The point I'm trying to bring out is that you can learn so much more about yourself through failure. There we go. That's the point. You can learn so much more about yourself through failure than even through success, because you develop so many skills, character traits, and stuff that it can help you succeed in something else through that failure. So you could be a lazy person, but through that experience, and although you failed, now you learned about determination. You learned how to persevere. You knew now how not to compare yourself to others. You knew now how to be happy within yourself. And all of these stuff are things you're able to develop and learn through your failure for you to bring onto your next obstacle to help you succeed. There we go. That makes perfect sense. That was my message. That's how I was saying you can learn more in failure than you can in success. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Yeah. So it's a very deep concept, something that I only a couple years ago started to unlock and realize more. That it was through my failures, it was when things didn't work out right for me, that I learned and developed new traits, which actually helped me succeed in other avenues of my life. So that right there, don't ever take failure for granted. Don't let failure get to your heart. Never, because there's always lessons and skills you can gain from that failure to help you succeed in something else. So never let failure get to your heart, and never let success get to your head at all. Make sure you stay level-headed and keep the same intentions that you had from the start. So now that you're successful, don't let it get to your head for you to say, oh, I'm better than this person. Remember where you came from. Don't ever try to let your ego take the forefront of your life. So now you forget where you came from. You forget the steps that you took to get to this point. Don't ever forget that. Never forget that, man. Keep your intentions in the right place and make sure you're always assessing your motivations for why you're trying to get from point A to B at all times, man. And ultimately then, with the right intentions, only then can you be fully content and happy that you were able to reach the point they have been longing so long to achieve.
Yeah, so that was an amazing finish off. Like, I'm not even going to add anything, because if I add something, I'll start asking more questions. But I think this was like an amazing, conclusion, whereby let's say, if you're watching this and you feel like you're a failure, you feel like you can't overcome, or you feel like you've reached a goal but you're struggling now with other elements of it and everything like that. The thing is, just sit down, think about, be intentional, think about your intentions. Why are you doing what you're doing? Why are you trying to overcome your obstacles? Why are you trying to reach the goal that you're trying to reach? And yeah, we have it, like, think about the intentions. And then if you failed before, or you're failing, or whatever, take failure as in a positive, like, change the perspective of what failure is. Look at it.
If someone right now, sorry for cutting off like that, but right now is watching this and you're in the midst of failure, like you've been failing all your exams, failing driving tests, failing whatever, instead of just focusing on the fact that you failed, look at the things that you've learned through that experience. So let's say before, when you were driving, you always forgot to look left and right. Now that you failed and you realized, hey, I'm not always looking left and right. Next time you do it, make sure now that you've learned from that experience and you remember now to always look left and right at a roundabout when you're driving. Always look out for the little gems and stuff that you can take away from the failure. Don't just look at it as failure, look at it as a learning experience. That's what it is. I always tell people 2 L's make 1 W. They make a W. 2 L's make a W. So even if you're failing and it looks like there's nothing that you can gain from it, look closely, look at the small print. There's always something you can take away, whether it's a life skill, whether it's a character trait, or whether it's a little gems to help you succeed next time. Never look at failure as an L. Look at it as a learning experience. You can turn that L into a W. Always remember that, man. Yeah, for sure.
Thank you very much, Ithiel. It was really, really nice having you with me in this talk. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure whoever's watching this or someone watching this, at least one person is going to learn something and gain something from this. But until next time, guys, like, it was really good having Ithiel with us. Until next time, guys. See you soon and have a good day and look out for the next video. Yeah.